Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Grind. My name is Kelly Johnson, your fun and friendly host. We are on Season 2, Episode 17, the very best one yet. I wanted to give a quick shout out to John Pound Photography. We worked with John on our podcast, Brand Photography, and the portraits turned out incredible. He was very professional, and I enjoyed the entire photo shoot experience. I would highly recommend him for anyone needing quality portraits. If you are located in the Milwaukee area, reach out to John at johnpoundphotography.com. Thank you, John. Support from this podcast comes from Savvy Dating Game. Tired of swiping left and right? Try Savvy, the world's first live mobile dating game. Live every night, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Before we go live with our special guest, here's your fast fact of the day. You can sneeze faster than a cheetah can run. Clocking in at 100 miles per hour, we can sneeze faster than cheetahs running, 4.5 times faster than Usain Bolt's record, and 20 times faster than Michael Phelps. Unfortunately, we can also expel about 100,000 germs when we sneeze. There's your fast fact of the day. We have on our show today not one but two special guests, Jordan and CJ Jones, also known as the Jones Boys. They are the co-hosts of the Talk That Sports podcast, which is dedicated to embracing the sports conversation beyond what you get on the mainstream media. Jordan and CJ are the people who love sports with a passion and are here to debate it weekly. They both live and work in Arlington and Abilene, Texas, respectively. Welcome to the show, Jordan and CJ.
What's up?
Hey guys. Oh, we have this problem. We talk over each other all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm CJ. I'm gonna say that first because I'm the oldest, so I'm gonna take seniority in this moment. And this is my little brother Jordan.
Yeah. I'm not the youngest. I'm the middle child, so I'll hang my hat on that. But yeah, I'm Jordan. What's up, people?
Yeah, welcome to the Daily Grind. We're excited to have you on the show today. I'm excited to learn about both your daily grinds and share your motivation and inspiration with others and our followers out there in the world. So I guess first and foremost, if our listeners haven't came across you already, can you both tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Oh, I'm CJ. I'm based locally out of Arlington, Texas. Basically, me and my wife woodwork for a living now, and so my life consists of we're working every day and researching and making YouTube videos. And now me and Jordan are in the podcast realm talking sports every day. So our week just consists of making sports content now. So it's pretty. So literally, I live the life of a big child. I get to play with toys and talk sports all day. So it's pretty awesome.
For me, I do not live my life like a big child. Yeah. So I live in Abilene, Texas. We moved here a couple years ago, me and my wife. I work for one of the universities here. I work in higher education. I've worked in higher education since I graduated college. I actually finished my master's in like 2 weeks.
There we go.
My doctorate in January. So in 3 short years, everybody will be calling me Dr. Jones or Dr. J. That's the only name I will go by. Yeah, I love what I do. I love the podcast. We've always talked sports in our lives, and we ignore our wives with it. So we decided that we would have somebody else listen to our nonsense for an hour each week.
Really well said. I love the unique backgrounds both of you can bring to our show, as well as your own podcast, Talk Sports Pod, which we'll discuss further on in this interview. I guess right away as well, you guys are making some history tonight on the Daily Grind. You're our first dual interview.
Nice.
Oh, I love it. History.
What is it? Two's a party, three's a crowd. So yeah.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's cool. It's gonna be fun still.
So yeah, speaking of sports, how did you both become interested in sports? Did you play growing up? Are you still? I mean, obviously you talk about it on the pod, but how'd you come interested at a young age?
You want me to take this, or you got it?
I go. It's kind of weird because our parents were not interested in sports at all. My mom played sports in high school so that she can get into games for free. She had no interest. My dad never played sports, and so really I think like our parents got into sports because we liked sports at a young age, and I think it was just being around friends and stuff. You want to play football in the backyard. We had basketball goals in our backyard. Like we were the house to go to on our street because we had 2 basketball goals, and so we basically had like a partial full court back there that people come play on. So like we really just played a lot of sports growing up, and it evolved into us watching sports all the time. And now we just can't get enough of it. We're into pretty much every sport there is out there. We'll watch it.
And then when you grow in a house full of boys, it's nothing else to do. Like in our family, is like my dad really didn't watch sports until like I was born first. He still didn't watch sports. And when he had Jordan, he's like, well, crap, I have to watch sports. Like I have 2 sons. And then Christian came along and it was over. So he's like, but you still ask my dad about sports today. Like if you ask him at the NBA finals, he'll probably say, I think LeBron's in it. And then that's all he'll know.
Yeah.
But like for us, it became a bonding moment playing Madden, watching sports, arguing about sports. Like me and Jordan are opposite brothers, which makes us such a combination. We've always, like your favorite quarterback was Tom Brady. My favorite quarterback was Peyton Manning. We didn't like the same teams until now. Now we like the Cowboys together, but he's an Alabama fan, I'm a UT fan. So it's always been some sort of rivalry in our family that's pushed us, and we all played it.
Yeah, definitely. I could say likewise. I have an older brother. He kind of influenced me into following sports and playing tennis, for instance, and just staying involved. Again, not having a family background at a young age, but I really like the rivalry. So
it is.
Yeah. Do you think it's helped you get the ball rolling in regards to connecting on this whole industry in a sense, or just falling in love with sports type of thing?
Yeah, I think it did. I think it definitely did, especially with me and Jordan, because like we've had some knockout, drag out like basketball games and fights and arguments, and like Jordan said earlier, I think our wives got just so annoyed about every time we got together, we just started talking sports, and like we could be sitting at dinner and having a heated debate about like LeBron and Michael or anything really, just any sports topic, and they were like, "Oh my God, we're at dinner. Can you please just shut up and eat your food?" So, and we had to find a medium. And I remember we were on the phone one day, Jordan, right? And we're just like, we should start a podcast. Like we should just talk. And it's really like brought us 2 closer together too, because with him not living in the area anymore, it allows us to like at least spend a week together, like a one day of a week. We speak an hour. Just talk. Well, it's more than an hour. It's normally like 2 or 3 because we're after the podcast for another hour. And today I called him just for like to make sure he's still coming to town this weekend. And we talked sports for another hour. So that's how it is. Like, it's a good medium for us.
Yeah, like sports is genuinely a hobby for me. It's something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy playing. I enjoy being around it. So having the opportunity to just talk about sports and being in a space where everybody around you loves to talk about sports is amazing. So I went on a couple other shows before and talked with them about sports, and it was just fun. We've gotten the opportunity to meet with a lot of like DFW locals. So like some of the people on radio here in DFW, we've gotten to chat it up with them, and that's been amazing. Talking, even like as much as like talking and engaging on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. It's fun. Like it's fun. You love the rivalry. You love talking up your team and talking trash to other teams. Like there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, it's like a similar interest that a lot of people have in common. Not just us on this pod right now, but our listeners tuning in, people that are tuning into Monday Night Football, or just whatever in general, whatever sports going on. Stanley Cup just ended. Roland Garros is going on for tennis. Like the list could go on and on. What's going on in today's age? But yeah, you mentioned radio and just being involved on a lot of different mediums. How did you both then become interested in podcasting? Did you have a background in podcasting?
So not really. No background in like sports media whatsoever, to be honest. And I don't think that you need one, because I think one of the reasons. So we actually were originally on the Game Break Sports podcast. So that was something that we created and got the ball rolling there. But when we were developing it, so I love writing about sports. I love talking about sports and everything. So I started out writing a bunch of articles and just saved them on my computer and used that kind of as a base to get going. And then from there, we started just talking about like, hey, let's just get a podcast going. Everybody has one these days. We might as well just get in the industry. And it was never really about like truly building up numbers and having like, X amount of listeners each week. It's really just about like, let's just have fun and talk to each other. It's a way to connect with each other each week and check in and see how we're doing. And we get to have fun while we're doing it and let other people join in on our debate. Because I think the big thing for us is we were tired of the way that sports commentators are these days. Like talk shows are really bad right now. Really bad when it comes to sports. They're not giving true opinions. And we have encouraged the idea of like being a true fan, because that's what sports are there for. They're there to watch and enjoy. So if you're not going to talk sports from a standpoint of being the fan, then there's no point in talking about it. So that's what we do on this show. We're very biased and we admit it. Like I said, the Cowboys were going to win last week, even though I knew they had like 4 offensive linemen missing. And I still stand by it because I'm going to be a fan, and that's what fans do. And so I think that's really how we got the ball rolling. And from there, it's really just history.
That's kind of a microcosm of Bad Take Jordan. Like he just makes bad takes all the time. So he is a character in that show. Bad Take Jordan pops up about once every 2 weeks. We'll see him. But like for me, like I was originally going to college for sports media, and then I figured out college is not for me. Seems get degrees, but I didn't want to be there no more. So I had slowly been like, everybody been telling me for years, like, you should do a pod, you should go do radio. And I was like, I really don't want to know. And I figured I couldn't do anything single-minded because first of all, I'm a very social person. So I need somebody to bounce off of. And so when we were just sitting there talking one day, and he was like, we should start a pod. And then we went to game break. We were at game break for, I don't know, about 2 months?
2-3 months. Yeah.
2 or 3 months. And then we decided that we wanted to do something different and have more of a bounce off show. And I feel like it was a great transition for us to go with Talk That Sports. It's been fun. I loved every minute. I've loved every minute of it.
Yeah, definitely. Really well said. I could say likewise too. I didn't come with that podcasting background that you needed. Just kind of Google search is my go-to. I just started doing a podcast during work, and I was like, oh, I can actually do this. So let's get this going.
And he was like, wait, I just gotta buy a mic and then download this sound mixing app.
Yeah.
Cool. Like that's all I need to do. I thought for years I need software and $100 mic. This mic right here has been really making it. It's like a, I don't know, $40 mic. Yeah, it sounds decent.
Yeah. I commend you for mixing your own stuff because we do not touch it. We have a great engineer in Aaron Bird.
Shout out to Aaron Bird. Like she's our engineer. That's our girl. She take care of us. Like
he's the one that makes us sound good. Our podcast would be horrible if we were the ones doing it.
We thought about doing it. We looked into it, right? Like we looked at okay, me and Jordan were we're gonna take these classes, learn, and we're like, yo, Aaron, can you just make us sound good?
I think in overtime too, or Daily Grind, we've been around just for over a year now. You guys are really new to the game as well. Last time a year, starting in July, if I'm correct on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've really, taken it from the ground up, basically, in the podcasting game, and you're really doing a really great job breaking into sports and whatnot. So yeah, was your aha moment then from game break to July? Was it right around that turnaround where you started the Talk That Sport podcast?
Yeah, well, and when we were with Game Break and everything, it's a group of my college friends, and I still talk to those guys and love those guys. But we wanted to do, because originally when we were brainstorming it, it was going to be me and CJ and do our own thing. And we opted to do it with them and, have more people involved and everything. But we've been still bouncing with the idea of, hey, let's kind of do a brother kind of take it from the brother spin and, have a true just two brothers on the radio talk or on the podcast circuit talking sports. Yeah. So we started it was late July. And I always tell people podcasting is the easiest thing to get into. It took a matter of a day, less than 24 hours to set up our Instagram account, our podcasting thing. And then from there, we were ready to launch our first show that Wednesday. So for anybody out there that's wondering or teetering on the idea of getting into podcasting, just jump in because there's no point in waiting.
He makes it sound a little bit easier because like he's more the techie brother. Like he's younger, so like they're able to like get on those things. And he made, and within like we talked about this, like we were on the phone. I was like, we signed the name. We figured out he talked that sport that has a good ring to it. Let's do that. And next thing I know, within like, I don't know, 30 minutes, Jordan has sent me like 9 logos. He's like, okay, what do you feel about these? He's like, I got an Instagram going. I got, do you want a Facebook page? I'm like, no, I don't do Facebook. And then he's like, okay, I got our Apple Music set, Apple Play set up, our Spotify set up. I'm like, okay, hold up. I guess we're doing this. Let's go. So it's easy if you're techie. If you really want to do it. I'm not that guy. Jordan knows that. I'll barely be on my Instagram. So
yeah.
I think it brings like for you guys to have that sibling rivalry. You can definitely specialize in both sides. And I think with you as a tag team, really contribute a lot, and it really shows in each and every episode on Talk That Sports. So yeah, speaking of Talk That Sports podcast, can you tell our daily grinders out there what's it all about? What goes on each and every week?
Okay, so it's like a hodgepodge of stuff. All right. It is there's a parental warning on it. I may curse a lot. There's 3 shows. There's 2 shows that I have not said a cuss word on. So, and this is gonna be 3. I'm not gonna drop a bomb on here today. All right, I'm stay good. So, it's a hodgepodge of things. All right, but like basically our basic setup is we get up, we start talking, basically relive our weeks, kind of like, hey, what you been up to? We always do what you drinking. So like normally I for the first couple weeks I drink a glass of wine. Last week got a Corona, you know. So and then after that we talk some TV, just kind of what's going on in life, and then we do like women ball 2 segment. I'm big into women's sports. It's been a very good passion of mine. With us not having sisters growing up, I've adopted sisters in life, but we didn't have sisters growing up, and we know we're gonna be fathers and daughters. So women's sports are entirely important to me and Jordan. So we made sure at some point at each show, we're going to highlight some type of women's sport, some type of women athlete, some type of women movement, just to make sure we're keeping that at the forefront of mind. Because like women athletes, they need to get more respect. And then after that, we have some couple fun segments like what jersey you're wearing. And that's one of our favorite segments where we get to pick our favorite person of the week to wear. And I think our first one was like one of our best ones because it happened right after Fernando Tatis Rangers thing. Yeah. And me and Jordan went off for like 20 minutes about the jersey. And we're like, okay, we're way behind. And then after that, we kind of just like, to be honest, we wing it. Like we try to set an order, but like after what jersey you're wearing, it's kind of like whatever we're feeling, whatever we're vibing. Like we may start talking Cowboys. Like last week we started talking Cowboys, and next thing you know, it's an hour up. And we're like, yo, we got to get out. Let's go. Hard out. So that's kind of what it is. It's kind of like just literally 2 brothers. It's like we want to reenact us sitting in the same room with each other, just talking our week about sports. Like just where we were when we were in college.
Yeah. And we you have the segments that we do, like CJ was saying, but when it comes down to it, a lot of it is just, if you're in a room with somebody, if you're out at a bar with somebody and 2 people that love sports, what are you talking about? You're not like, you don't have this big topic that you're debating each week. You don't have these like gimmicky things. No, you're like truly having honest conversation about what you think about what's going on in sports that week, what's coming up. Like last week, like he was saying, like we talked for like maybe 40 minutes about the Cowboys, because we were so excited about that win. But like I said, we're true fans. And when you're a fan, you're going to talk about things that you love. And you break down every aspect of the game. And I think that's one of the reasons why our listeners love to hear us, because they get to feel a part of it. And so one of the things we do is, so we actually do our shows live. And so people are able to actually engage with us in our chat, which I wish more people would get involved in that, because that's a great opportunity to get your name out on the show. So we definitely throw it up there.
It does get me excited. When we see that name pop up, I'm always like, yeah, Roger from Florida.
Our best one was like the fantasy episode, because we had I think we had like 10 or 15 people constantly just messaging throughout the show. So we didn't even get into half the topics we wanted to talk about because we were just talking to them. So like that's one of the beauties of it, and one of the reasons why we wanted to do this podcast, because we truly want to find something that connects us with other people. Because
oh yeah, no, go, you finish.
well, I was gonna say, yeah, because it's one thing to talk, us two, and that's great and everything. But there's so many more people that love sports out there, and I love being able to have these opportunities like we have now to talk with you. Yeah, so I think it's just a great thing that we're able to do, and it's fun.
And we never want to be like the debate shows. Like we that's not the model we want to make, because like we agree on a lot, and we want to know people agree a lot on sports. Like me, even though me and Jordan are exact opposite on a lot of things, but sports we're kind of right down the middle on everything. And we may have some disagreements on the show, but for the most part, listen to the pod or listen to us live. It's a lot of us agreeing, making similar points, and I feel like in a lot of sports media and a lot of podcasts, you have a lot of people taking fake angles and it's like, oh, you saying this, I'm gonna say this. Like, nah, me and Jordan don't want to be that. We want to be truly authentic to ourselves. Now, there are some weeks that Jordan says some wild stuff that I'm like, yo, pump your brakes there, Tiger. Pump your brakes.
But how many times do you talk to a fan and they have a wild take about their sports team?
Yeah, but your wild takes are kind of just like out there.
Okay, but one thing I want to put up, because he's pointing back to a specific topic.
The Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals. Lord Jesus.
Out here on this. Sorry, I'm like derailing this. But okay, so the Dallas Mavericks, if Kristaps Porzingis was healthy in that series, we could have beat the Clippers. And if they beat the Clippers, they would have beat the Nuggets. I know they would have beat the Nuggets. So the Dallas Mavericks would have been in the Western Conference Finals. So
I'm an MFFL, right? But I don't know what drugs Jordan was taking that day, but he was on one. And I was like, yo, it's Lakers Heat Finals. That's what's going to be. And speaking of that, I got that right. So you know that.
Wow,
want some money.
That's a pretty big prediction. But yeah, I could say it might have been a little bit of stretch, but that Wayne Gretzky quote, like he missed 100 the shots you never take.
That's my motto.
You gotta go beyond the comfort zone type of thing. But I like what both of you said. Like CJ, like with being honest, having that genuine perspective on sports, I think that holds really true. It makes your show a lot better and unique. And then also too, Jordan mentioned, just having that follower engagement, people being interactive. So you have going live on Wednesdays. So yeah, for our listeners out there, you guys have the YouTube live. So when and what time is that every week?
Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Central Time every week.
Cool. We'll for sure put in the contact info for today's show notes where to join them on one of their sports talks.
Ask us questions.
Exactly.
So that's the fun part. We love it.
Yeah, and then going back to your Dallas Cowboys fan base and whatnot, I have been out to Dallas before a few times for tennis. Like I used to coach in the past. We went to nationals one time. So have been I toured around the AT&T Stadium and whatnot. Have not gone to a game yet, but it's on my list. That'd be cool.
Yeah. It's a fun visitor stadium. I've been a couple times. We went to Thanksgiving a couple years ago. That was fun. We all got engaged within like a 4-month period.
Yeah, 4
months. All three of us, me and our younger brother, all got engaged in a 4-month period. And it's crazy, right? We found the woman we loved. We're all like, marry me! And so as a family, we went to the Cowboys game, the Cowboys-Redskin game, which was an epic game. So it's a good game day experience, but it's like, that's a spaceship.
Oh, definitely.
I love that stadium.
Really great job. Mm-hmm.
I paid for that stadium. I'm going to forever say
that. I can believe it.
Taxes. And then we bought another, like, it's okay, my bad, I'm sorry. So a little tangent. After we literally just got done paying off the Cowboys Stadium, AT&T, and then the city of Arlington's like, you know what? We're going to do taxes again. Let's get a baseball stadium. And let's get a gaming center. So, we have a lot of stuff in Arlington now that just keeps paying for it. So I'm okay with it. I guess I'm going to keep paying my taxes every year.
Yeah, definitely. I put Dallas on the places to travel within the U.S. on my list each and every time. For sure, I'll make it in your neck of the woods. We'll stay in touch. But getting back to sports. What are your favorite sports leagues to follow? Besides NFL, obviously, but like you mentioned, WNBA. You guys focus on each and every week. Do you have like any other, like your top 3 or top 5?
So, sports As far as like true diehard, I'm watching every game that's on. Is basketball and football. Those are my two favorite sports. Basketball has been my sport for like forever, so I can watch any basketball game that's on all the time, except for college basketball. Don't like it. But yeah, basketball, and then the NFL and college football are like the top three. After that, I'm not a huge watching baseball on TV fan, especially this year. It was awful to watch on TV, and hockey, not really a fan of it either. So, like, but I do like tennis specifically and golf. I watch some golf. So those are like the other two that I would say that I watch.
How about you, CJ?
Oh, if it's a sport, I'm watching it. This is plain, simple, period. I am here for competition. Like the Olympics come around, I watch everything. I'm here all day, every day in front of TV. March Madness, like I used to be at a point where I was an addict. I used to take off the first day of March Madness, order big old pizzas from Italy's in Arlington. Shout out to my Browning Road. Come on, call and get a pizza. All right. Big old fat pizza, some wings, a 24-pack of beer, and just watch basketball all day. I can watch football. Like literally Sundays are for football. Jordan knows this. My wife should know this. She be playing games now. She be trying to get me to do stuff on Sundays. I'm like, yo, 12 o'clock to 10:30. I am occupado on Sundays. All right. Anytime before and anytime after, I'm good. Basketball, I can watch it. Baseball is my true sport, my love. I'm a Rangers and Cubbies fan. So no Rangers in postseason. The Cubbies are there. So I'm a little bit all over the map. So I watch everything, especially, like I said, I watch all sports, like tennis. Golf is the only one. I'm only there if Tiger's there. And Jordan knows this. If Tiger's there, I'm watching. If Tiger's not there, I'm next channel.
I like it. I like the variety. It's a good mix. I think, again, like we said earlier, I think you guys have really good balance to offer really great perspectives and go really deep, not just on the surface, but go deep under in regards to, pinpoint different plays, different people on the field, on and off, and things of that. It really makes the show for sure. So, yeah. So talking about what's recent around the corner, we don't go too much, but we'll save it for your Wednesdays, your live shows and whatnot. But mentioned NBA Finals are just around the corner. By the time this episode airs, it might be over already. But what's your thoughts on the whole bubble playoffs? And I guess like through the playoffs and now finals are the Heat and the Lakers.
It's been fun. Like when this all started, I was like, yo, this is not like, just shut it down, guys. We'll see you next year. But like, to be honest, like after I got through the scrimmages and the preliminary games, when the playoffs started, I've been like hooked, logged in, watching every game on my phone or listen to it on the radio. It's been pretty exciting, and it's like even though I got the finals correct, the playoffs didn't happen the way that I expected it to. But it was really exciting. I didn't think that Miami was going to be that dominant as they were. And I'm really surprised to see them in the finals, but I'm happy I picked them. And then I really was looking forward to the Clippers and Lakers in the finals, but the Clippers do what Clippers do. They don't make it. So it's been a really fun experience. I really liked it, and the NBA's done a good job of like making the game experience still feel like a game while not being a game at the same time.
Yeah. Big props to the NBA and the way that they set up their bubble this year, because I think that it has been by and far the best product out there, the safest product out there. I mean, as you can see with the NFL right now, we have 2 down facilities as of today because of COVID, and this is what we knew would happen if they stayed open and did not do this kind of thing. So being able to actually watch sports and then know that the people that are playing and the people that are helping and supporting, because we talked about this on our show a while back, we're not worried about the players because the players are going to be fine. I mean, like for the most part, it doesn't affect a lot of young and healthy people. We worried more about the people that are working in those facilities and things like that. So when they're constantly being exposed by not necessarily a player, but it could be a fan that comes into the stands, because here in Texas, our stadiums are open. And so we have fans in the stands, whether it's at Cowboys games or UNT games, SMU games. All these fans can be in these stadiums. It's not a lot, but it's still, you're talking about 20,000 people all being in the same area at one time. That's a lot of people coming in and out. So it's I like the product on the field or on the court that the NBA did. I'm still wary of a lot of some of the other sports, but it's been nice to have all these sports going on at the same time because it's the first time we've ever seen this happen. Probably going to be the last time we ever see this stuff happen.
Exactly. Yeah, I wasn't predicting at the beginning of this year to have the NBA Finals still going on in September, October.
And yeah, it's cool. And I've liked all the access, like all the interviews, all the behind the scenes, all the like Instagram. Like Taylor Rooks is like one of my favorite follows on Instagram. She's been like interviewing everybody, and Rachel Nichols, and this has been a ton of people interviewing people, and there's a lot of insight. So I feel like you're getting more, and then players are more willing to talk and be more open because they just miss people. And they're like, okay, you're not my teammate. You're not my coach. I'll talk to you for 4 hours. Let's go. What do you want to know? And so I've been liking that part.
Yeah, the insider behind the scenes, like after the game or even before the game too. Jordan, you hit the nail on the head too. I 100% agree. Likewise on the staff, I'm more worried about what goes on like after, a baseball game, for instance. Like these guys are getting worked on in the training room, but those trainers help X amount of players or even any of the staff from media to game day to after that post game. Like that's the bigger concern, I think, too, because those people are, more of an average Joe in a sense that they're not locked into a bubble. They're out and about, going back to their home or to their families or into the regular grocery store down the road. So
exactly.
Yeah, so a lot of moving parts if it's not in a bubble situation, but I think things will work out. Hopefully, knock on wood, later this year and to come if we're going more in a better trend, less COVID cases, things of that nature, to keep the sports pumping and games keep on going, get fans, increase the fans, bigger capacity at these stadiums. That's what I miss a lot too, just going in person to tailgate or to live sporting again. So
yeah,
that's a big miss for sure.
I do miss it.
I think all of us do. But going back to NFL, so just started NFL a couple of weeks into the season. Any bold predictions right away that you want to tease us on the daily grind here?
Expect to see more teams that are 0-3, 1-2 in the playoffs.
You do need that because you did have the Cowboys in the fantasy championship game.
The Cowboys I'm not even talking specifically about the Cowboys right now.
I'm sorry, Kelly. I'm sorry. It just hurts my soul.
No, but for example, so you look at the NFC South. So right now in the NFC South, you have the Buccaneers at 2-1, and then you have the Saints at 1-2, Panthers are at 1-2, and the Falcons are at 0-3. I'm not saying that every team that's 0-3 or 1-2 is going to make the playoffs, but there is a lot more teams that are off to a slow start this year that will recover. Like the Saints will be in the playoffs this year. They're not going to be bad and miss out on the playoffs. So you expect some of those teams like that to find their way. Because I think the Chargers, they're 1-2, right? And I think that they will have a path to the playoffs this year. And so I keep your options open. There's definitely going to be some shifting going around. It's early in the season. The Cowboys are 3-0 last year at this point, and they ended the season 8-8. So a lot can change.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, CJ? What's your insights?
Sorry, I'm still bad take. Jordan popped in the chat. I didn't know he was coming today. I didn't know he was showing up for the interview today. So I'm still shocked. But my bold pick, is that all 4 teams in the NFC West go to the playoffs. It's the first year it can happen. It's the only year it's going to happen. So I think all 4 teams can make it because there's 7 playoff teams. And then also, I don't think Patrick Mahomes is going back to the Super Bowl. So I even though I had Chiefs Seahawks, there's something about that team that scares me a little bit.
That is a bad take.
It probably is. It probably is. Like he's winning right now. He's having a baby now. Like he's winning on all accounts. But there's something about that team that kind of freaks me out. And
I'm gonna rain on CJ's parade a little bit because he was just talking to me earlier saying how he was gonna get his fantasy team back into the playoff condition. He's 0-3 right now in fantasy.
So bad.
So he should be hoping for my prediction that some of these 0-3 teams and 1-2 teams actually do bounce back. So you're welcome, CJ. Yeah.
Shut up. I hate you.
That's interesting. I like it. A little teaser. Yeah, we'll have to look back on this podcast and see where things are at later in the season. Predictions. But yeah, going back to fantasy football, things you talk about on your Wednesday lives. How do you decide like what materials that you cover on your podcast? Is it kind of just what's going on? We're doing Cowboys today, so we're gonna do Cowboys.
It's always a blur. It's literally like me and Jordan, we text throughout the week. We probably talk. We talk twice, maybe twice or 2 or 3 times between shows. A week on the phone, and we kind of just plan it out there. And then some weeks you have like last week where we're so like enamored with the Cowboys making that great comeback against the Atlanta Falcons, to where we're like hyped. And then like a lot of the weeks the Cowboys lose, you will not hear us talk about Cowboys on Wednesday. Like it's gonna be like short compact. So like the Cowboys lost.
Yeah.
Next. So it's just kind of like what's going on in the world. We try to say is like trendy as possible, but there's some things we're locked into. We want to talk about that week. But like this week, we're gonna talk about the Stars because the Stars unfortunately lost in the Stanley Cup final yesterday, Game 6. Hurt my soul, hold my soul. But so we'll talk about them a little bit tomorrow, even though Jordan doesn't like hockey, but we're still gonna cover it. But kind of just like it's just whatever. It's like we kind of just want to talk about. We may spend 30 minutes one week just talking about what's new on HBO now, and then talk the last minute about 30. So we kind of just like wing it. We talk about kind of what we want to talk about on the show. And then when we get to the show, we kind of let the show progress of its own. Because we learned early in the podcast, like, we're like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this here. We're going to talk about this 15 minutes. We're going to talk about this 15 minutes. And it just didn't sound genuine. And we're like rushing out of segments. So we kind of said, let's just wing it. Like the first show, like our first, like episode 0 was literally me. We recorded it twice.
Yeah, we had to.
What happened?
We had multiple. So I had somebody ring our doorbell, and I was the only one home, and so
I had people delivering stuff to my house. It was so we had to stop the pod. Yeah. We recorded the whole thing, and then we restarted and did it again. And we just said, let's wing it. And since episode 0, we've been that same exact way. Only time we really plan stuff out is when we're doing interviews. We want to make sure we have a game plan going into an interview. Even that still, hey, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to ask him about this, and then let's go.
Topics can change. Like, so we had Kevin Hagelin, who's on 105.3 The Fan here in the DFW, the KNC Masterpiece. And so we had planned to talk some Cowboys and Mavs because that was when Mavs still in the playoffs. And we ended up talking about mental health for about
20 minutes. Yeah.
Because he's a huge advocate for mental health. A little more background about me. I am one class away from a master's degree in marriage and family therapy. So, and so it's a passion. And so we talked a lot about it. And that's just how our show goes. So with preparation, like we had our show prep meeting earlier today, if you can call it that. But honestly, I can tell you now, most likely half the stuff we talked about today is probably not going to be on the show tomorrow. Yeah. We actively watch sports though, and we actively are reading. We're on Twitter, we're on ESPN, we're on Google, searching for different articles and reading stuff. So we know what we're talking about. We're never going to go up and give a bad quality show because we don't know what we're talking about when we're on there. But it's really just about what we feel we want to cover that day, and that's what we can roll with.
And we're always going to be like well informed. Like we don't really want to touch a topic that we're misinformed about. Mm-hmm. When it comes to anything, you've seen us like even when the NBA shut down to one day, we were on the show with Kevin, and we just didn't want to talk too much about it because we didn't know exactly because it was happening literally as we were on the pod. Like so, we're like, okay, guys, we don't want to go too deep into it. We talked about it, so we literally just want to be like, we want to make sure we're just giving the best quality content, the best quality show, and we want to laugh. Like we're bringing people into our houses, like. Especially going live, we bring people into my office, we bring people into Jordan's office, and we kind of and then eventually we're going to do a combined show that we want people to show up to and ask us questions at. And so we're going to keep that same programming when we go there.
Yeah, I really like the flow of your pod. And just, again, you have to be kind of fast on your feet as well because today's age, a lot of stuff changes really quick when it comes to injury reports or who's playing, who's not playing type of thing, or even from a coaching perspective, from a fan perspective, the whole NBA shutdown, we didn't foresee that coming. So you have to be like, super quick in regards to the sports day and age. Like I'd say like from years ago, we didn't have it. I feel like a lot of stuff didn't have that short of time period turnaround.
Mhm.
But now with everyone's eyes on it, I feel like a lot of times that's becoming the norm. You just have to be ready for it, which is really interesting. But yeah, speaking of following sports, watching sports, both of you guys obviously are sports enthusiasts. If you haven't been listening to this whole interview yet, if you're paying attention, you should pay attention now. But yeah, you mentioned a little bit, CJ, what you do. What Sundays are dedicated to watching football.
All
Do you
day.
have, like, game day traditions? Any like unique, I don't know, rituals or when you do to watch or follow specific sports you want to share with our listeners?
When I was a single man, not married, and the ball and chain, I used to work at a bar. I was a bartender for a long time. So like my Sundays were at the bar. All the games on. I didn't have to worry about getting no football package or watching the channels. Like all the games on. I had some cold frosty alcoholic beverage in my hand while serving alcoholic beverages and eating nachos. But now I feel like I'm old and domesticated now. So like normally I just wake up and have a blanket wrapped around me in my pajamas, and I'm like my feet kicked up on my stool, and I'm just watching sports at that point in time. But typically, if I had my perfect day, it's like some sort of barbecue, brisket or ribs, or some wings, and a 24-pack of ice cold Coronas, and I'm in heaven. And no distractions at all. Wife is gone all day.
Yeah, very nice setup. CJ, how about you, Jordan? What you got?
So the true tradition that I have, and I've done this every year, I'd say for the past 4 or 5 years now, is I will, on the first game of the season, I have a chili queso that I make, and I make that every year for the first game, and then I do some kind of barbecue. This year I did ribs. Normally it's something like that. I'll do something like that, and that's my way to kick off the season. From a week to week standpoint, I mean, the biggest thing is like, one, my Sundays are sacred. So as soon as I get out of church, I'm heading straight home in my chair, Cowboys jersey on. I have NFL Red Zone, and then I have on my big TV whatever game I want to watch, and I am there until the 7:00 game ends. So that's how it is every week, and nothing ever really changes that.
Early services only during football season.
Exactly.
Everybody knows that. If pastor's preaching close to kickoff, I'm like, okay, gotta go, pastor. I love you. Cowboys play at noon.
Yeah.
I like quite the daily grinds we got going on here for game day.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. It's just fun. Like, but that's how we were as children. Like Sundays was like, we got out of church, straight home. No dinner, like no Sunday. During football season, my dad just dropped us off at the crib, and we were like, Cowboys are playing right now, let's go. Or watching it, and my dad was a deacon. We watched it at church, like in the many rooms you can find a TV. You can find it at church and watch football after service was over. If he's gonna be there for 3 hours, so it's pretty dope.
That's cool. Yeah, make it work. Integrate sports into your own daily grind. I like really great takeaways out there. So yeah, speaking of your daily grind, what you guys got going on the upcoming months later this year?
I mean, as far as the show goes, we are potentially going to have some special guests on. So stay tuned to our Instagram at Talk That Sport Pod and our show weekly to hear updates about who we're having on. We had a couple guys on in the past, and we're about to set something up to where we have some people in the future. Nothing's confirmed yet, so we won't release everything just yet.
I'm gonna ask a favor from the Daily Grind listeners. All right, I need y'all to hop in Flemmo Raps, FLEM Mo. All right, Flemmo Raps inbox and say, hey, come on to the Talk That Sport Pod and talk Bengals Cowboys. He's a big Bengals fan. He's based out of Houston. We need him on the pod. So I know I'm giving somebody else some hey, help us out, people. Help us out, grinders. Yeah. Help us out.
I like the plug. Yeah, I'm hoping for a teaser and one of those special guests. Who knows? You never know if I'll get on the show.
Yeah.
Oh no, Jordan. See, Jordan's in charge of guests. I'm just like yelling at people. But no, as far as stuff coming down the pike, I know one big thing we do have planned is our family show. It's been something we wanted to get our younger brother's been running scared from us. So he's a Saints fan. And his Saints have lost the last 2 weeks in a row. He's supposed to be on our show the last 2 weeks. And he has not. He's been running from the pod. So hopefully we get Christian on there. But we want to get a show with our wives plus his fiance.
Yeah. And another fun thing that we have that y'all can look forward to is, me and CJ talked about this a few weeks ago, but for so the week of Thanksgiving, we're not going to do a live show because I'm traveling to Arlington to go visit family and stuff, and so we decided not to do a show. But what we're going to do instead is our wonderful engineer is going to put together all the F-bombs CJ's had over the course of the...
She's doing it? Yes!
She's going to put together all the F-bombs that CJ's had over the course of...
It's literally just going to be a podcast of F-bombs.
Yeah.
And it's been so... We were going to do it on the 1 year anniversary, but this is too long of a span of time, and it may be a 5-hour podcast, so we don't want to do that to people. So, that's a good amount of time for me to get some F-bombs in there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then stay tuned for some guest hosts. We're going to bring on some guest hosts because during the holiday season, upcoming next year, we're going to have, me and CJ will be away from time to time, and we want to continue to have the show going. So we're going to bring in some people to come in and entertain everyone when one of us can't be there.
Yeah. Love the teasers we got going on. I'm looking forward to tuning your show back half of 2020 as well as our Daily Grinders out there. That's awesome. As we say on the Daily Grind, keep up the grind.
I love it.
Do you both have a word of the day to motivate our listeners out there?
Where you go? You're the guy with the inspirational quotes. Go for it.
I do. So I actually keep quotes on my wall in my office. Very big on it, and I think you need it as motivation in your life. So one of the easiest and most simple ones, and I'll give you a quick little backstory on this. So actually, part of my course, I met with one of the professors at a college here, and we talked, and we were talking from a spiritual standpoint, but it applies to every aspect of your life. And basically what he says, you can only study for so long. So you can only learn for so long. At some point, you're going to have to put it to the test. And that's what we're doing out in the world. And the easiest way that you can do that is to be the change that you want to be in the world. And that's Mahatma Gandhi. It's very crucial in the world that we're living in today. There are so many things that people see that they're not happy with. It starts with your local community. What are you doing to make the people around you, the world around you, a better place? And so think about that in your daily life and how you can affect change with the people around you.
Mine is simple. It comes from the book of Barbara Ann Jones. Just be about your stuff. I may say it the expletive version, but be about your stuff. Like anything you're gonna do, make sure you put your olive into it. Make sure you're putting 100% back in it, because there's no point of just putting one foot in on anything. So like our mother, God rest her soul, when she was on earth, she made sure she told us there's no fence traveling with us. So you'll see it, we're all devout in all our leanings. So that's my day to day. That's why I try to make sure I keep true to myself, keep true to my values, and I think that's helped us a lot going forward.
Really well said, both of you. Very fitting with today's episode and with your stories that you both shared on the Daily Grind. Really great motivational quotes out there. Last but not least, so if our listeners want to follow you on social, they want to tune into Talk That Sports podcast, how can they do so after this episode?
So follow us we're on YouTube and Instagram. So on Instagram, it's at Talk That Sport Pod. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much anywhere where you get a podcast, you can find us. It's Talk That Sport. Check us out. We're a great show. I love doing it. Even if you don't listen, we're still going to do it. So
guys, look, we don't need you to listen. Download. Just download. Don't listen. It's all good. We're okay with that, all right? We just need that. Or click the video, let it play for 3 seconds, put us on the background. It's all good. It'll work.
Listen to the nonsense. Please listen to
the nonsense. Please listen to the first 5 minutes. All right, you can find some fun stuff in there. If you're not a sports person, you'll get a lot of life in that.
My wife doesn't like sports, and she says she tunes into the first 15 minutes because that's our nonsense.
And she always comments. Tell her. Speaking of that, this is coming out October 15th ish. Yep. Lexi, by the time this podcast shows up, you should change your name on your YouTube channel to Alexis Jones, not Alexis Hansen anymore. All right, please change it. You're Jones now. You're Jones now. Oh, if you want to follow me, It's CJ Junior 2224 on Instagram. I'm changing my Twitter handle to CJ, not CJ, on Instagram, and that on Twitter. It's CJ, not C.J. I hate when people put dots in my name. My name is CJ. It doesn't stand for anything, guys. Dang it! Come on, keep it up. And our engineer, Aaron Bird. If you need a podcast, if you're starting a podcast, you need somebody to be on there as an engineer. Hit up at Aaron Bird 22 on Instagram. All right.
Wonderful. All right, we will put all of CJ and Jordan's contact info, where to find Talk That Sports podcast in today's show notes. As always, thanks again for tuning in today's episode. Big thank you to CJ, Jordan for being on the podcast. Hey Daily Grinders, we have an Instagram contest with Savvy Dating Game for the month of October. Head over to @DailyGrindPod to enter and win a Savvy Dating Game prize pack and Target gift card. Let's give a quick shout out to our Daily Grinders listening to us on the pod or have been grinding with us since season 1. Feel free to check out our journey so far and share your feedback with us. Give us a rating and quick review on Apple. Virtual high five to you in advance. To find the Daily Grind, follow us on Instagram @DailyGrindPod and on Twitter as well. Check out our website at www.kjfwi.org. Daily Grind Pod, official podcast of the Kelly Johnson Foundation. Until next time, my name is Kelly Johnson. Have a great day.
That was so cool.
Wonderful.
Kelly, that was awesome.
I'm excited to talk some sports on the pod.
Yeah.
Talk that sport already.